What if the real reason Vanilla Ice disappeared wasn't because he was a one-hit wonder, but because he ran? Ran from a world so dark, so manipulative, so controlled, that fame became a curse, and survival meant walking away from everything. Vanilla Ice, the man who once shook the music world with Ice Ice Baby, is finally telling his side of the story. And it isn't the glitzy narrative we were sold. Behind the lights, behind the fame, lay an industry that offered success, but at a cost that would destroy most people. And the names involved? They're not small. We're talking Jay-Z. We're talking Diddy. Giants of the industry. Titans. But, according to Ice, these titans weren't just gatekeepers, they were the puppeteers. Let's rewind the clock. In 1990, Vanilla Ice rocketed to superstardom. His hit, Ice Ice Baby, was everywhere. Radio, TV, billboards. He was young, magnetic, and ready to conquer the world. The music industry didn't see a man. They saw a product. And from day one, they began to shape him into an image that could sell. Ice didn't write his bio. His team did. They crafted a backstory, a persona. Suddenly, he was accused of lying about his background. Suddenly, he was under attack for being fake. But he wasn't fake. He was trapped. Interviews turned into interrogations, like the infamous Arsenio Hall interview, where Ice was ambushed with questions meant to humiliate. "You lied about your background," they said. But Ice insists. He didn't lie. His team did. And by then, it was too late. He was branded a fraud. While the public saw a young man falling apart under pressure, the truth was far darker. Ice says that behind the scenes, he was approached. Not by just anyone, but by some of the most powerful names in music. Jay-Z, Diddy, Clive Davis. They didn't offer record deals. They offered mentorship. They offered legacy. But with that offer came a proposition that Ice couldn't accept. He speaks of rituals, of manipulation, of the kind of hazing that breaks people. "They wanted me to be part of something I didn't understand," Ice has said. He saw it happen to others. Young stars burning bright, then burning out. Talented artists losing control of their careers, their identities, their lives. He says bluntly that he refused. He walked away from the rituals, from the secrets. And, in return, the industry turned on him. They mocked him, isolated him, and slowly erased him from the mainstream. But walking away wasn't without consequence. The first major warning shot came with Suge Knight. You've heard the balcony story, right? Suge Knight dangling Vanilla Ice over a balcony to force him to sign over royalties? Ice says it didn't. Go down exactly like that, but the truth might be even darker. Knight showed up with 6 men. Guns, threats, intimidation. They roughed up Ice's team, forced him to sign, and walked away with a quarter of his royalties. But why? Officially, it was about songwriting credits. Unofficially, sources claim this was a message. A message from the top. Play ball or get played, and the hits didn't stop. At the peak of his fame, Vanilla Ice was stabbed. Not once, but 5 times. He lost 4 pints of blood. Barely survived. It wasn't even his fight. He was caught in the middle of someone else's beef, or so it seemed. Ice believes it was another warning. Another price for refusing to play along. Still, he didn't bend. Instead, he turned to what he knew. Dance, performance, hustle. He went back to the grassroots, spinning on his head at malls for $40 a day, teaching himself new moves, battling for respect. He wasn't just some white kid in a black industry. He was a student of the culture, obsessed with proving himself, and it paid off. He built a name, a real one. The hard way, but no matter how hard he tried, the machine was against him. Then came Tupac, Vanilla Ice, and Tupac met when Pac was still with Digital Underground. Before the legend, before the icon. And Pac saw something in Ice that others didn't. They became friends, real friends. Tupac gave Ice some of the most heartfelt advice he'd ever received, told him he was dope, that he would leave a legacy. This didn't sit well with everyone. Suge Knight, again, wasn't pleased. He saw Tupac as his artist. Vanilla Ice was the outsider, the mockery. And now they were bonding, sharing ideas, respecting each other. That wasn't part of the plan. The industry didn't like those who colored outside the lines. Ice says that after his relationship with Tupac grew, the heat intensified. More smear campaigns, more threats, more attempts to control him, but Ice stayed grounded. He rejected the system, refused to let them break him, and when the smoke cleared, he wasn't dead, he wasn't in jail, he was free, he pivoted, reinvented himself. Vanilla Ice became a businessman, a real estate investor, a family man. He walked away from the machine and built something real, something tangible. And while the moguls who tried to control him, Suge Knight, Diddy, now, face prison, scandal, or ruin, Ice is at peace. He says, "At one point in my life, I didn't even know who I was. I didn't want to live. With millions in the bank, I didn't care. Now, I'm grateful for my kids, my life, my freedom." He shook the snow globe. And when it settled, he saw the truth. He wasn't a one-hit wonder. He was the canary in the coal mine. So the next time someone asks what happened to Vanilla Ice, don't say he fell off. Say he survived. Because some artists sell records, but others, they keep their soul. Also, some fans are drawn to hip-hop figures who carry themselves like underworld kingpins, just as they're captivated by the high-stakes rivalries between rappers. Back in the early 90s, Vanilla Ice claimed that Suge Knight, the infamous founder of Death Row Records, once dangled him off a balcony to force a deal. And when Jay-Z was accused of stabbing record exec Lance Rivera in 1999, many within the hip-hop community didn't flinch. They saw these incidents as signs that these men were willing to do whatever it took to win in the cutthroat world of music business. Now we turn to Diddy, a key architect of hip-hop's rise to mainstream power and corporate influence from the '90s into the 2000s. While he built an empire on chart-topping love songs, his legacy is also marked by headline-grabbing scandals, each followed by impressive efforts to repair his public image. Unlike Suge Knight's menacing persona, Diddy seemed to intentionally distance himself from being seen as his counterpart, carefully shaping his narrative in the public eye. "I felt like I disappointed the hip-hop community," Diddy told MTV's Kurt Loder in 1999, following reports that he struck Nas's former manager Steve Stoute with a champagne bottle and a phone. "Because everything I do, I'm trying to be a team player in taking hip-hop to the next level." Though he initially denied the assault, he eventually pled guilty to a lesser harassment charge and was ordered to attend a one-day anger management program. But that was far from the end of the drama. Later that same year, Diddy, then with Jennifer Lopez and rapper Shyne, was arrested after a nightclub shooting left 3 people injured just after Christmas. While Lopez's charges were dropped and Diddy was ultimately acquitted of both gun possession and bribery, prosecutors claimed he tried to pin the weapon on his bodyguard. Shyne wasn't as fortunate. He spent the bulk of the 2000s behind bars before being deported to Belize in 2009. Years later, in a 2022 episode of Drink Champs, a podcast on Diddy's own Revolt network, Shyne spoke bluntly about the case. His lawyers were there to secure a not guilty verdict by any means, he said. "He's a $100 million corporation, and they looked at me as the enemy." Following the trial, Combs quietly retired his Puff Daddy alias, a symbolic end to one chapter and the beginning of another. Let us know what you think in the comments. And if you want more exposés on the dark truths behind the fame, subscribe and hit the bell. We post new stories every week. Until next time, stay curious and stay aware.
Please subscribe to my channel for more extremely exciting celebrity news.